Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Please. Come on, we cannot start at 7 o'clock in the morning by laughing
So
of something that nobody will understand. So welcome back to the SMT.
Welcome back, everybody.
Season number 4, episode 4. 4. Perfect.
We've been good.
Come on.
We made it.
People cannot complain this time. Because we know a bunch of complainers about the SMT. Yes, how are you, Francie?
I'm good. I'm good. Bit tired, but with energy for the SMT.
Fantastic.
And you?
I'm very well. Yes, enthusiastic. Enthusiastic to be with you. Yes. Well, the topic for today is
rules.
The topic for today is rules. Exactly.
Yeah.
Rules.
I think it's, for me at least, it was quite a difficult topic, or at least more difficult than others, in the sense that to prepare, of course, and to think of the questions and things to bring to the SMT this time, because it's so broad.
True.
And
of course,
rules can be intended in so many ways.
Of course.
But well, we'll try our best.
True. And what we try here is that we try to apply the topics to our own lives, right?
Definitely.
And maybe even the relationship between mother and daughter, or a little bit, something that goes a little bit farther than that, but still within our knowledge, right? And experience. So, shall we start?
We shall.
We shall. So, do you want to start with your question first?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. No, I wanted to start because, well, as always, I have a few different questions that I'll have to pick, just maybe one or two. But to start with, I wanted to ask you, because one time during, I think, high school, I remember having this essay to write in Italian, and I think, if I remember correctly, the title, the headline.
The
headline was something like rules, freedom or restraint.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I found it very interesting, and especially, I think it was after COVID. So of course that was a big moment where we had tons of rules to follow. And so I remember referring to COVID, for example, one of the things in the essay. But so to start with, and to really understand what we mean by rules, when we say rules, what do you think? Do you think of a restraint? Where does your first thought go to? Or you think of rules to then, get to that freedom, spiritual freedom, right?
Exactly. And it's so funny, Francie, because my first question is exactly the same way. So we can have like a conversation about it. Because I wrote, what are rules for you? How do you feel when you listen to the word rules? Goosebumps or relief? So that's the idea.
Exactly.
Goosebumps are because exactly, or the relief of freedom, no? Good. Now, because I've been thinking about rules a lot for the last few years. Rules in terms of limits, but also rules in terms of shape and form. Okay. And this is the part, of course, of the relief, right, or the freedom that you were saying before. And I think your question is, I don't know, I'm speaking, of course, for myself, but what I have come to realize is that one of the things that has helped me to see rules in a different way, of course, is age and experience. I don't know.
Imagine.
What happened in my life is very, very shortly is So many rules when I was a child. I lived in a very, I live in a, so strange, but I lived in a very disciplined home.
Me too.
What I was going to say.
Yeah, not so much.
But again, the rules were kind of, those were rules because that's exactly what my parents needed in order to deal with 5 children. Three first and 5 afterwards, because we are 5, but even
you came in groups.
Exactly. Exactly. 3 first and 2 afterwards.
So it was not like one shot.
And just because my mom was 20 or is 20 years older than me, I always have that feeling that all the rules that I had when I was a kid, it was because, I mean, she didn't know how to do things. And so the best option was to set whatever rules she had been used to or she heard were good when you were raising kids. Then after, of course, my teenage period, I was a little bit of a rebel because I was rebelling against the status quo, let's say. It's not that I did, because I didn't know whether the rules were good or bad. I was too young to realize about that. But I was rebelling against so many rules and not questioning or no justification or no reason sometimes for those rules. So that was my teenage period. And of course, when I became a young adult and then we formed a family and I became a parent myself, I kept many of the rules, but I definitely became much more flexible in so many others. So, okay, rules that I thought that were completely unnecessary when I was a kid, and some of those rules that I eliminated or left aside were connected to form, which is what I'm gaining back.
Right.
Okay. As at the age of nearly 50, I have come to realize that 20 years of rules, yes, because you just said it. I lived in a house with rules, and I know that I set lots of rules, but there was some shape, the shape or the rules in shape or the shape in rules. There was something there missing that I think it's the important, the positive part of rules, no? And so I'm going back to that. And poor your siblings, because they find themselves, because it was different. You are out of a home, you're 21 already, and I cannot be telling you things that I'm telling your younger siblings. But well, that's a little bit my vision about rules. They are necessary. They are necessary, and the best part of rules are the rules that, of course, are connected to giving form to things because they put boundaries that then they free people to do certain things. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And well, you naturally answered to another one of my questions, that was, how did the rules change through your life, like since when you were a child to now to adulthood? But well,
I'm done. But
yeah, because you were gonna ask the same question. So of course, I mean, we have different ages, different experiences, but I couldn't agree more. Like, for me, rules are necessary. For me, I can't think of a moment where I thought were really like where I was really bothered by a rule that it was imposed on me, in the sense that for me, being, I want to say, very rational, though I can also be.
You're an artist, that's so strange.
I know, but I consider myself quite rational to be an artist. I need that order. For me, rules are order. I need to But I want to say I also set myself a lot of rules.
Another question.
Yeah. So maybe that's the thing, because I already set myself quite strict rules. Maybe the rules from outside are just like extra, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I need that planning. I need the rules, those rules. And I also, for example, in acting, I realize as creative as I can be, I prefer someone guiding me and someone setting those rules, for example, a teacher, instead of, exploring my creativity and maybe making up something on my own. At least in acting, maybe like when it comes to music, I like doing things on my own because I already found my style with the singing, with the guitar, with the songs I want to do. But for example, in acting, this is a thing where I realize I need that rule. I need those points, those bullet points to follow,
So yes,
bullet points. So, and yeah, for me, I see rules as when I asked you the question, a way to reach something, to achieve a goal. I want to say.
But I was thinking, you are at the beginning of this stage of studying drama, right? So you are on your path to become an actress, and it's just the beginning, right? Because of your age, and just because you started 2 or 3 years ago,
Yeah.
let's say. And it's the same as the children. So if we can compare your stage now in your acting field as when you are a child. When we are starting something, we need the boundaries. We need the boundaries from outside, Franche.
Yes.
It's very difficult to set the boundaries from inside when you are a child. And at the beginning of a career, you need the context. You need someone to be setting, this is okay, to be telling you this is okay, this is not okay. This is a better path for you to go, because we start from the emptiness, right?
Absolutely. It's just that sometimes when you're young, it's difficult to understand.
Of course. Absolutely. Well, shall I go with the next?
Yes,
because everything is connected,
Right,
everything is connected. Good. So my next question is: can you remember no that you got in your life and how you felt after it? And of course, because the no is the way we see a negative rule. Okay, so a no as a limit of something that you couldn't do afterwards, and that of course made you rethink about things or made you feel in a different way. And of course, if you learn something about it afterwards, after getting the no and then maybe throwing a tantrum and not being happy about it, that was different after you elaborated the no.
Right. First thing that I can think of is, and see, it's crazy because now think about it and it's no big deal, right? But it was when I was in Taiwan, and I was being hosted by the first family who were the strictest, I want to say them. And so it's crazy because during that year I had a curfew, which was at 10 p.m. At 10 p.m. I think I had to be home, which was for me was already like a big rule because I never had a curfew.
Exactly. But can I say something, a parenthesis? But you were living in a capital city with underground plaza, lots of people, which was something completely unusual for you. So that was already your boundary, right?
Exactly. That was exactly, yeah. Again, setting my own limits. But so we had this curfew, but that, I always respected, of course. I was always on time. I was always home on time. But there was one time where we had a birthday party of one of the girls that then this family hosted as well. So it was part of the district. They knew this girl. She always used to come home to have dinner with us. It was her birthday, and I remember like at around, I don't know, 7, 8 in the evening, we were having fun, and I remember asking my host parents if I could get home 1 hour later. I was asking for 1 hour of shapa.
Begging.
Yeah, very politely, you know. They're Asians, but and they said no. They said no. They said no because I had school the other day. A school where I went, but I didn't get anything, you know. Exactly. I played my guitar at school. It was crazy. But they said no, that I had to be home. Maybe I think there was also an extra rule. Well, during school days, it was before 10, something like 9:30. Well, now I would have to check with my friend. But now, of course, I love that family as I loved all of especially 2 of the families that hosted me in Taiwan. And it wasn't that made me feel like I wasn't mad at them. Maybe in the moment, because for me, what hurt me was not being able to be home, to get home an hour later, but I felt treated as a child. I felt like they didn't trust me after, sorry, but being such a good student. I spoke Chinese by like, they were my first family that hosted me, and I already spoke Chinese to them. And you know, I always respected the rules. I always spent time with the family, and I was asking for 1 time. I was like, come on, like, get a life, you know? But I'm asking for 1 hour. And I felt, and this is one of the things that pisses me off, when I feel like people still need to set these rules on me, like, but I feel sometimes, maybe because of coming from our family, I can already pass them. Like, you don't need to tell me these things, you know. I am already responsible enough to respect these rules. And I was asking for that scrap a la regula, but I didn't get. So that's definitely a day I remember.
Good. But let me tell you that is the day that you'll remember.
Yeah.
I am very sorry to say this.
No,
this
crazy.
This is the mother part of me, of course. But that is the day that you'll remember, Franchi. And probably that will be a day, because when you're telling me things, believe me, I still do have very set in my mind and very clear the times and the very short moments and phrases that my own parents told me when I was a child that were at the end rules that stayed forever. Okay. And of course, you are also telling, again, one part of the story. They were being parents all the time. So the rule had to be respected. And as I was telling you before, you are right. You were a good student, brilliant, spoke Chinese, had no problem. You always obeyed. But you were a Rotary exchange student in a big city that you had never lived in. The friend that you went to the party to was an anarchist.
That's true, but I think they let her, I mean, it was her birthday party, but the family let her have the party until later. But of course, as I said, now I think about it, and not only I say it's no big deal, but of course now I understand. I mean, they had a responsibility on me. As you said, it was a big city. Coming back with the buses, there were probably no tubes at the time already. So
at the age of 17, at the age of 17.
Understandable.
Taiwan at the age of 17. It was kind of strange. Good. Your question?
Yeah.
We have a lot to say about rules.
Oh, yeah. difficult. No, we can talk about it. okay, as I said, some of it you've already responded during in your first question, but so I want to ask two questions in one. So how did you think you were gonna be with your children in terms of rules, if you remember when you were younger? Because this is a thing I find myself thinking quite often, like, you know, I have your model, it's in me, you know, and I wonder, it's not that setting rules means.
Can I kiss you and hug you? Sorry.
Not that setting rules means necessarily being strict, right? But like I often ask myself, how am I gonna be with my kids? But then, well, so if you can remember, what were you thinking when you were younger? And then now that you have kids, one of the things that worries me, for example, when I will have kids in the future is the how can I call it, like the controversy effect of rules. I don't know if
controversial
effect of rules, in the sense that sometimes the more rules you set, the more you want, the more the other people want to break them, you know?
Absolutely.
So what's your take on that? And
of course, well, it's a whole subject.
That's clear.
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
I know it's very broad, but
it's super clear. And I don't know, just because I don't want to speak for a long time, but the clear example of what you're saying, secondly, is the controversial side is a little bit hoodie, okay? But one of the things that comes to my mind is, first of all, I was, as a parent many times, because I am also a teacher now, and so I've met so many parents and children, and what I normally see is that parents are afraid of setting rules because they don't know what or how their kids are going to react. So throwing a tantrum, rebelling against the rule, and parents are afraid. And what we do not realize is that kids or our own children are permanently claiming for rules because they don't know how to do things. So the controversial side of everything is that you need to set rules at the right time, in the right place and at the right time.
And in the right way.
Exactly. And not being afraid of setting the rule. And my parents were wonderful because of the thing. They were not thinking about rules. They set them, okay? I realized that, of course, one generation after, I am thinking about the rules much more before I set them. So I have like a whole philosophy, and I'm exaggerating, but just to make myself clear. My parents just set the rules because that was the way. I remember telling my father in particular many times, but why? I was the why girl. But why? And the answer was always, because so. There was no answer. And I was furious. But that also helped me to understand afterwards. I couldn't understand it at that moment, but I understood it 10 years after, in my 20s, when I elaborated lots of things about the relationship between me and my parents. I understood completely that was their own way, those were their possibilities, and that was perfect. And today, I cannot be but thankful for the rules that they set on me, because they gave me so much shape and form for my own path, and also when I became a parent myself. So,
right. But
many times I do feel like, how am I going to tell my own kid this, and how am I going to be strict, rigid, and non-negotiating? Because that's one of the things. I think about it, I plan it, I rehearse it, I talk about it sometimes, and then when the rule is there, there's no way to going out.
Go
of it.
back.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, no, but the reason I asked you like how you thought you were gonna set the rules to your children when you were younger, it's because I knew you were kind of a rebel. So I was wondering, when did you do that click of, because I imagine if I was to break the rules all the time, I'm thinking immaturely, oh, I'm not gonna set all of these rules to my children. But I think you did move on, you did do a different job on your children than the one that your parents didn't do.
Exactly, more thought over.
Right.
This is the thing, and
difference.
the way of setting the rules. I think it's the big change is the way of setting the rules, and when some explanations were needed, I was ready to give them. Okay, I was telling you before, I didn't get any explanations.
Right.
I just got the rule, and that's it. Go and deal with that. But you know,
yeah, I think we never got a because so.
No, you never got it because so. But you know what was the feeling when I was a little girl? Then a teenager, I was more of a rebel because I was asking for more whys. Okay, but I always felt safe. So, and this is because the rules were so strict and rigid and limiting that, okay, I had a rule, so I had a context where I could move, okay? If everything was, there was an emptiness of thing and I could have done whatever I wanted, that would have been much more difficult, but I felt safe. I remember I felt safe because there were rules, and because my parents, in particular, my mom, who was more expressive, okay, she trusted me. So the rules were clear, but she trusted me. That was a great combination. That was a great combination.
Oh, yeah, no, of course.
That was a great combination. Yes.
And the more you trust someone, the less
rules you need
to set.
Yes.
But because you trust that they will put their own limits.
Of course,
they will set their own limits.
Of course. And thinking about your question, I mean, how did that change in time, and how did you think you were going to set your own rules? That's how you probably better educate a child, by teaching that a rule is good, and how at the end of the day you're going to create your own rules. You started by saying today, Franche, I set my own rules. That didn't come out of nothing.
Well, no, of course.
There is a little bit of genetics because you are different from your siblings, and of course you are different. But I'm sure that there was a lot of teaching in you, understanding that certain rules were okay. Because I was going to say that beginning, at the end, or during the SMT, it's so easy to speak with you because I can hardly remember the why questions from you. And it's not that you didn't ask, of course you asked me why, of course, but in a different way. You understood, you understood. You claimed for rules, for sure, as a child. I set the rules, but you most of the times understood that that was the right path. So you trusted me as a child.
Yeah.
As a child, you also trusted me.
Yeah, true. But it's crazy because I can't think of, like, now it's like I see the rules because I see them in Kwani and Huli. But I can't think of these big rules that we had in our house
because
when I was a child.
Because they weren't.
And I think, again, like, there was a time where I was very, very strict with myself. And I don't know where that came from, but that was the time where, like, when I had my migraines, when I was really suffering from that. But it was me, myself, and I.
Exactly. And that takes me, let me ask you the question, so that we smoothen a little bit the air. But tell us a little bit about one of those funny rules that you said to yourself. And if you want, I can say one and we can speak about it, because this can be the trigger for you to think about another one. But hairdo.
Yeah. We could write a book about it.
About hairdo. Mom, Fridays.
Well, the thing.
Mom, please, I need a ponytail with no lumps, no anything, no hair going here. Redo it. No, it's not okay like that. And you needed a bun and tied it and come on, and clips and no. There were times that you had six clips in your head.
I know, it was terrible. Well, yeah, now I think that with that we open another like it's a whole new chapter about like superstition and right.
Of course.
But yeah, no, I did set myself a lot of rules. I want
You can do it. It's a way of life.
I think at one point I was, but again, it's superstition, but I was obsessed with the number 4 and I had to do everything in 4. Yeah, something like that. There was something about it like.
I am going to say something that is so strange, French. And then I remember something that I want to say at the end of the SMT. If I'm not mistaken, and I think I heard my teacher say this, number 4 is the most mentioned number in the Torah.
Really?
Yes.
Crazy.
No. Blessed.
Bless me for all those 4s I used to. There was something about 4 steps and something in 4. Definitely that. Then there was it's embarrassing. I think like looking at the shampoo like bottle while I was washing my hair. I don't know. I really don't want to go into details. But there were all of these rules. But again, I was doing this because I thought it was a way to then for things to work. I had to do this so that my test went well. And then no, my test went well
because you started.
Exactly. 10 hours straight. But, and then well, no, I think that you never mentioned but I used to pray when I was a child.
Yes.
I used to pray every night, guys. Let me tell you this.
You used to pray, and I don't know what you prayed because you never learned any prayer from me.
I knew Padre Nostro, and I said that, but then I remember there was 2 minutes that took me to say the prayer. But then there was like 15 minutes. Please protect my family, my mom, and I mentioned all of the relatives. And then I test tomorrow, but just if you can.
But just if you
can, it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is to protect my family. And then if you can, well, tomorrow I have the month's schedule. Jesus, like. You got me, huh?
That was the most important part of the prayer, but well,
oh God,
I just cannot say.
Fantastic. So of course that was one of the other moments of like a rule because I used to do it like every day. Of course, it was a moment where I also had to thank the universe or thank whatever. That and of course I had a lot of rules in terms of studying and the procedure I had to follow. But to that I'm thankful because I think I had my own method that then works out, through my years. High school, middle school, all of my years in school.
Exactly. When you were saying because it made things work, it's the same concept of you felt safe.
Yeah, I felt safe. Yeah, exactly. Even now, whenever it really helps me to set some rules on me. Like I have this rule of having to, work out 3 days a week. Even very small. There's rules everywhere. I don't know, always arriving 5 minutes earlier to work, or like those little things that make me feel safe, that make me feel in order that I'm doing the right things, or at least I'm trying to do my best.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, and shall we go to the artistic part? Of course,
definitely.
Of course. Please, you first.
Right. So today, it's an article.
Okay.
Because we talked about rules for us, right? As you said, on our everyday basis. But I want to take this concept a little bit farther, and of course, how do you say, like un ambito,
context?
Yeah, say a context where you find a lot of rules. It's sports.
Absolutely.
And because the other night, we were talking about the Spanish team.
Yes, of course.
We need
the World Cup. Soccer World Cup. Yes,
female soccer World Cup. I knew about this rule, and now I think they re-brought it in another way, reconfirmed it. And I always found it a very interesting topic to talk about. It would take us hours, but let's read the article together, and you'll understand how it is related. So, sorry, I spoiled a little bit yours.
No problem.
I hope people can see this one, right?
Yes.
Okay, so World Athletics, WA, announced new rules on Thursday impacting transgender women athletes, banning some from competing in female track and field events. Basically, WA called male puberty from participating in female world ranking competitions. Decisions are already difficult when they involve conflicting needs and rights between different groups. But we continue to take the view that we must maintain fairness for female athletes above all other considerations, what the President Sebastian said in a statement. So here we open a topic that is so broad, but I found it interesting, and I wanted to bring it to the SMT because of new, and again, like the female winning the World Cup. This is a big rule involving transgender people who, they were born in a man's body that now became women, and in a man's body that became a woman, and that they can't participate and compete against other women.
Yes. A whole issue.
Yeah.
We need an SMT about it.
Yeah, definitely. It was a prompt, let's say.
Yes. But I like it. And for sure it's going to be one of our topics in one of the SMTs, because it's the gender situation of the world among young people and with everybody. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, right. But it was to, exactly be, I want people to be aware of this rule and give it a thought.
Exactly, because I was going to say, I think the most important thing at the moment and the stage that we are in, I know nothing, so I cannot even discuss about it, so this is the truth, but it's that we need to start being conscious about it and give it a thought,
exactly.
Which is what you just said, because not even the world knows how to deal with things, I'm sure.
Definitely. Right? And, I wanted to bring again, like a rule that was far away from our reality, let's say, that involves sports, because then you made me think of all of the rules that, for example, some countries in the world have, in Middle Eastern, for example, on women, and like how distant we are from them, and like how we should really give it a thought. How is it possible that we live in a world where there's so many different rules in it, and we are not set the same rules as other people in the world? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yes, awareness. Awareness at the end. Awareness, absolutely. Yes, yes, I agree. I agree. Yeah. Good.
But we'll
We'll speak about it. We need to bring it as a topic for sure. We need to
Yeah.
bring it as a topic. Yes, that one first. Yes. And what I have chosen to share with everybody in terms of art is a piece of art. I think it's one of my favorite pieces of art. It's and it belongs to my mother. The rule setter.
Yeah, I would say the same.
The rule setter and the anarchist. Okay, so this is of course one of my favorite paintings that she has made in her painter's life, and it's mine.
Yeah,
it's mine. It's still in Argentina, but it's mine, and I love it. I'm not going to speak about the painting, but what I thought is art is one of the fields in which we are always thinking, okay, artists are always free and they don't need rules or limits or anything, and so. And I'm sure that is not true, because at the end of the day, there are also, of course, you were speaking about your drama course and how important rules were for that.
Absolutely.
Let's think about music. I always told you this funny sentence, Franche, you find mathematics in
here. Yeah, no, 100%. So many rules.
Yes. And then, and I asked my mother, I asked her to send me the photo because the painting is in her home. But I also asked her, please tell me, how can we see the limits to this painting? And she sent me the second picture. Can we see it? So she sent me this picture and then she sent the other one. And I hope everybody can see it.
Let's make sure.
And I was expecting like a 5-minute review on the painting, and she telling me about, I don't know, colors and shapes and the plants and everything. And you know what she told me? The limit is the frame.
I love it.
I love it. The limit is the frame, exactly. So come on, and the frame is everything. Because she said the frame is telling me that that's the limit of that window. There were many other windows when I was painting that one, but I wanted to paint that one. And so the frame at the end is the context that she's giving to that window, and the boundaries, everything is within that.
Plus, like, there's something beautiful in that frame. So again, we go back to that, setting the rule to then have like a form, a shape.
Exactly.
Give form, a shape.
Exactly.
To the piece of art.
Yes.
Oh, great concept.
Exactly. Good. So shall we say that we love rules?
We love rules.
We do.
We love rules. But only the two of us can say something like that. Because people know.
Exactly. We know how to set them and how to obey them, right? And how to ask also for the exception to the rule.
Absolutely. But that's where the rules become, the rule becomes magical.
True. Well, thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you very much. At the end, we had a lot to talk. 45 minutes.
A lot. Well, thank you, and see you next week. Okay?
Bye.
Bye.